The day before my husband's birthday. My husband came home reeking of alcohol, seeming to have enjoyed himself. He appeared to be quite drunk. He was carefully holding a present wrapped in cute ribbon-adorned wrapping paper. "What's that present?" "Huh? It doesn't matter. Move," he said, and intentionally bumped into my shoulder, causing the present to fall from his hands. However, he seemed not to even notice it had fallen, leaving the present in the entrance hall as he went upstairs. Suspicious. I instinctively thought so and carefully unwrapped the present. Inside was a tie with a flashy pattern that seemed unlike my husband. When I took out the tie, a note fell out. "What's this?" It read, "Happy birthday, Tom. For my birthday, please give me your proposal." It was a present from my husband's mistress. Tears of frustration overflowed, and I bit my lip hard. I deliberately left the present on the desk and went to bed that night. In the morning, as usual, I got up to prepare breakfast, and my husband seemed to have woken up and came down to the living room on the first floor. "Good morning, and happy birthday." Then he just said, "Yeah," and as he sat at the desk, he seemed to finally notice the present. He ripped open the wrapping paper in a frenzy and checked the contents. "What's this, a tacky tie? Too flashy. You have bad taste. I don't need something like this," he said, and threw the present from his mistress out the window. "Oh." I looked down at the discarded present from the window. "It's disgusting. As if you'd prepare a tasteless present like this. Did you think I'd be happy? I'm not happy at all to be celebrated by someone like you." My husband spewed harsh words at me. But I wasn't upset by such words. I hadn't chosen such a tacky present. "Oh, I wouldn't celebrate you. That present was from your mistress." "Poor thing," I said with a smile. "What do you mean?" He was visibly shaken, his mouth opening and closing like a goldfish. Then, my mother-in-law, who had been standing by in the back room with a party cracker to celebrate my husband's birthday, popped her head out, surprised to learn of his true nature and infidelity. "Tom. Mom? Why are you here? Did you hear all that?" The situation was taking an unexpected turn. "My name is Nancy. I work for a food manufacturer. I married Tom, a salesman at a client company, 5 years ago. Now, I live with my husband and our beloved dog. When we got married, we discussed whether I should work or be a full-time homemaker." "Hey, Tom. I want to keep working after we get married, is that okay?" "Of course. There's no rule that women should only do housework. If Nancy wants to continue, that's fine." "Thank you. And since I'll be working too, can we share the household chores?" "Yeah. Let's work together on both our jobs and housework. Let's be happy," he said. I was very happy with his words. However, there was one thing I was a little anxious about in our marriage. It was that I wasn't very good at cleaning or cooking. Actually, I lost my parents in a car accident when I was in high school. After losing my parents, I lived with my bachelor uncle until I could support myself through college and part-time jobs. My uncle was not good at cooking or cleaning. Having lived in such a home, I wasn't skilled in cooking or cleaning. I'm more of a rough-and-ready type of person. I was worried that my husband might get fed up with me once we started living together. But when we actually got married, it turned out that my husband was also somewhat careless, similar to me. We were managing our married life quite well, cooperating with each other in both work and household chores. However, about a year after we started living together, my husband began to show his true colors. "Damn it! What the hell is this?" His angry voice echoed through the house with a loud bang. "What? What's wrong?" Shocked, I hurried over to my husband. There, I saw a wall with a hole in it. My husband had kicked the wall in anger. "That boss is so annoying. He's underestimating me." My husband was fuming, his face red with rage, looking like he could evaporate any moment. "I see. Just calm down, okay?" I tried to soothe my infuriated husband, feeling scared of him for the first time, as I didn't know he could get this angry. One day, we visited my in-laws' house for Christmas. "Merry Christmas! Have you two been doing well?" "Merry Christmas. Yes, we're doing fine. How about you, Mom?" "Yes, as you can see," said my mother-in-law, doing squats to show us. "She's full of energy." Apparently, she goes to kickboxing classes by herself after work. She started because she wanted to fight off a groper if it ever happened. While I chuckled at my mother-in-law's antics, my husband also entered his parents' house. Then, Tom. She hugged my husband. My mother-in-law dotes on her only son. Mom. Merry Christmas. My husband didn't seem to mind. My mother-in-law, a single mother after divorcing due to her husband's affair, raised my husband on her own. She worked hard, not wanting to be looked down upon because she was a single mother and a woman, and even now, she's a successful career woman. While we were eating the meal my mother-in-law prepared, she scolded me, "Hey Nancy. You're eating shrimp in such a messy way. As a lady, you should eat more elegantly." Sorry. I got scolded and hastily wiped my hands with a napkin. Then she scolded me again, "Your knife skills are terrible, too. You know, people notice how you hold your knife, so be careful. It's embarrassing." Oh. Sorry. I tried to change my grip but couldn't hold them properly. My mother-in-law sighed exaggeratedly. It seemed that my naivete and carelessness were bothering her. At that time, I didn't realize she was acting this way out of concern for me. I would only understand this much later. The Christmas holiday passed quickly, and we were back to our busy work life. That day, I messaged Tom that I would be late due to a pile of work accumulated during the break, stayed 2 hours overtime, and got home past 9 p.m. When I arrived home, I heard my husband and a woman's voice from the living room. "Huh? Is someone here?" Cautiously, I opened the living room door, and there was my mother-in-law. "Hey, Nancy! Welcome back!" "Hi. What are you doing here?" "Tom told me you'd be late, so I made dinner." Indeed, there was a table full of homemade dishes. "Thank you so much. Eat a lot." That night, the three of us enjoyed her cooking and chatted about trivial things. The warm soup was soothing to my tired body. From that day on, my mother-in-law started coming to our house more frequently. She's quite straightforward, often bossing me around. My mother-in-law probably thinks she's guiding me, but her harsh way of speaking gradually became frightening. "Look at this mess again. Clean it up properly." She scolded me after seeing clothes I had taken off before going to work. She even complained about a little coffee left in a mug, calling it wasteful. I was often scolded for things like scratches on the floor or peeling wallpaper in our house. Without even asking how they happened, she'd blame me saying, "Nancy, you're too rough with things." Sorry. Why don't you learn a thing or two from Tom? He's good at taking care of things, she'd say, snorting in disapproval. My in-laws' house is well maintained with well-used tools lined up. Clothes that are no longer worn are remade into bags or turned into rags. My mother-in-law herself values things greatly, and while I respect that aspect of her, it feels like a burden when she expects me to do the same. Seeing our interactions, my husband Tom would say, "Nancy's really careless, isn't she?" making an obvious face of disgust. Every time my mother-in-law scolded me, Tom's attitude towards me got harsher. Feeling blamed by both of them, I became depressed. Tom, acting superior, would say in front of my mother-in-law, "Mom's right. I would never treat things like that." But in reality, he's the one who always leaves coffee and, when he's in a bad mood or angry, tends to take it out on objects. I'm the one always troubled by him taking his anger out on things around the house. But, in front of my mother-in-law, he always acts like a good boy, so she has no idea about his true nature. Once, I asked Tom, "Can you talk to your mom? It's really hard being lectured by her every day." But Tom, who blindly trusts his mother, said, "Mom lectures you because you're wrong. She's not doing it to harass you. She's saying it all for your sake." Really? I was perplexed. Was Tom thinking that by leaving me to his mother, he'd put me in my place? Lately, that's what I've started to think. Am I being too cynical? Nothing was resolved, and months passed by when Tom started acting suspiciously. One day, "I have to take a colleague home because they're too drunk to go alone. I'll be late," he messaged. "Okay, take care. Hope your colleague feels better," I replied. I didn't suspect anything that day. Tom, a salesman, often goes to drinking parties and drinks a lot. So I just thought, Tom must have made them drink too much again. But from that day, Tom started coming home late. I'm still finishing up work. I have a drinking party, I'll be late. Every day it was the same. On weekends, he'd say, "I'm not coming home today because of a business meeting," or "I'm going golfing." Even my mother-in-law was puzzled. "Tom's late again today? Something going on? Nancy, do you know?" I had no idea either. "I don't know. He seems to be going to a lot of meetings lately." "Really? He's out drinking again." "Men are all the same," she sighed. As days like this continued, the word affair crossed my mind. Then one day, Tom came home early from work, which was rare. I was so happy he was home on time. I was in high spirits. "Welcome back. You're early today." I greeted him with a smile, but Tom seemed to be in a bad mood. He completely ignored my greeting, threw his bag on the sofa, and slammed his suit jacket on the floor. Here we go. Whenever he's in a bad mood or angry, he always starts taking it out on objects. "What's wrong? Did something happen?" "I quit my job." "What?" I was stunned by his shocking statement. "I had an argument with my boss. I don't want to work under that guy." "Are you serious?" "I wouldn't lie about that." "But what about rent? Utilities? Do you have another job lined up?" I bombarded him with anxious questions. Annoyed, he clicked his tongue and said, "Shut up. You work too, right? Just pay the rent and utilities for now. I'll find another job soon. Just don't talk to me today, I'm irritated." He slammed the door and went upstairs. I was left utterly confused by the sudden turn of events. Then I heard the sound of someone running down the stairs rapidly. It was Tom, coming down from the second floor. "Oh yeah, Nancy, don't tell Mom I quit my job, okay?" he said in a rush. I wasn't planning to say anything unless he did, but I agreed with a "got it." And so, Tom suddenly quit his job. After that, my mother-in-law visited our house several times. "Hey, Tom. Why are you home at this time?" "Huh? Oh, I'm on a day off today," he lied. My mother-in-law had no idea her capable son had quit his job and didn't suspect a thing. Even after quitting, Tom left all the household chores to me and didn't bother to help. "Can you help with the dishes?" "Guys aren't supposed to do dishes." "You do it," was his usual response. But we agreed to cooperate when we first got married. During the day, he'd laze around, and like clockwork, he'd leave the house at 7 p.m. On days when my mother-in-law was coming over, he'd return home around the time one would after work or a drinking party, spending the rest of the time elsewhere. I wondered what he was up to when he wasn't working. But I couldn't stay irritated. It was the day before Tom's birthday. I wanted to mend our strained relationship. So I rolled up my sleeves and started preparing a special birthday dinner. I was enthusiastic because it was the only chance to celebrate just the two of us, as my mother-in-law was coming over the next day. I had the present ready and the dinner made, thinking, perfect. However, even after 8 p.m., my unemployed husband hadn't come home. "He's late." Impatient, I messaged him, "When will you be back?" Then my phone rang. It was Tom. Maybe another drinking party? Anxiously, I answered the call. "Hello? Hello? Is this the wife?" "Huh." A bad feeling washed over me. My blood ran cold. "About when will you be back?" I sent. "I'm currently on a birthday date with Tom, can you not disturb us?" a woman's voice said. "A date? Why do you have my husband's phone?" "Tom stepped away, and I saw your message on his phone, so I called." The way she spoke, mocking and condescending, I knew she was Tom's mistress. Struggling to keep my hands from trembling, I tried to stay calm. "What can I do for you?" "Please divorce Tom. He loves me. If you don't divorce him, we can't live together." "Do you realize what you're saying?" "Yes, of course. I heard it from Tom. He says you always treat him terribly. He'd be happier with someone cute and kind like me." It seemed Tom had been complaining about me to this woman, who appeared quite arrogant and confident. "Let me talk to Tom first, then I'll get back to you. Could I have your name and phone number, please?" "My name is Michelle. My number is..." She readily gave her full name and number, so I wrote them down and ended the call. Feeling dejected, I ate the dinner I'd prepared with so much effort alone. I thought about throwing it away, but just then, my mother-in-law's words, "That's wasteful," echoed in my head, and I couldn't. I immediately listed the present I had prepared for Tom on the marketplace. Sometimes, hardship brings a moment of clarity. I didn't shed a tear as I calmly put away the things I had prepared. But after a while, overwhelmed by my thoughts, tears started to flow uncontrollably. I had suspected an affair, but knowing it was real was just too painful. I was excited to celebrate Tom's birthday in a big way, but he was out on a date with his mistress. Everything I prepared was in vain. Past midnight, around 2 a.m., I heard the front door open. Tom must have returned, having had his fun. How frustrating. Tom stumbled into the living room, reeking of alcohol. He seemed very drunk, and was clutching a gift wrapped in cute ribbon-adorned paper. "You're still up? You're late. What's that present?" "Huh? Doesn't matter. Move," he said, bumping into my shoulder intentionally, causing the present to fall from his hands. However, he seemed not to notice it had fallen and left it in the entrance hall as he went upstairs. Left alone in the living room, I picked up the present from the floor and neatly unwrapped it. Inside was a tie with a flashy pattern that didn't seem to suit Tom. When I took out the tie, a note fell out. "What's this?" It read, "Happy birthday, Tom. For my birthday, please give me your proposal." It was a gift from Tom's mistress. I was so dumbfounded, I couldn't even speak. I deliberately left the present on the desk and went to bed. The next day, Tom's birthday. I got up as usual and started preparing breakfast when Tom also woke up and came downstairs to the living room. He still hadn't noticed the present on the desk. "Good morning, and happy birthday," I said. Then he just said, "Yeah," and sat down at the desk. That's when he finally noticed the present. He tore the wrapping paper messily and checked the contents. "What's this, a tacky tie? Too flashy. You have bad taste. I don't need something like this," he said, throwing the present from his mistress out the window. "Oh." I looked down at the discarded present from the window. "Gross. Did you really think I'd be happy with a tasteless present like this?" "I'm not happy at all to be celebrated by someone like you," Tom spat out harsh words at me. Then, the front door opened. It was my mother-in-law. She arrived at the house and witnessed Tom throwing away the gift wrap. "Happy birthday, Tom." "Oh? What's this?" "Thanks, Mom. Nancy gave me a tie for my birthday, but it's just so tacky. She really has no sense." "Oh, I should have shown it to you." "And what about that present?" "It was so terrible, I threw it away," he said, laughing. "What? You threw away the present? How could you do such a terrible thing to something Nancy picked out for you? You're really the worst," my mother-in-law yelled, her face red with anger. I was surprised. I didn't expect her to get so angry, knowing how much she adored her son. "Mom, what's wrong? Why are you so mad?" Tom began to cower, having never been scolded by her like this before. "Haven't I always told you not to be wasteful since you were little? Yet you..." This was my chance. I decided to reveal everything that had been going on. "Tom has never really cared for things properly." "What do you mean? See that scratch on the floor? That's from him, isn't it?" "No, that must be from you banging the vacuum cleaner around or something." What a misunderstanding. I wondered to myself when I had ever said such a thing, but decided to tell the truth. "No, that's not true. When Tom comes home angry, he throws his clothes and other things on the floor. He often takes his anger out on objects and has always been careless with things." "Really? You're lying." Tom panicked and denied it. "Oh, and that tacky tie Tom threw out of the window earlier was a gift from Michelle." When I said this, looking at Tom, his face turned ashen. "What? From Michelle?" Tom was completely panicked. My mother-in-law seemed confused, a bunch of question marks floating above her head. "Don't you know Michelle? She's Tom's mistress." As I said that, my mother-in-law dropped her phone in shock. It seemed like she was so shocked that all her strength had drained away. "Even with my bad taste, I wouldn't choose such a pattern for a tie." Tom was speechless. I've suspected for a while that Tom was having an affair. He's not working but always comes home late, and he's hardly ever home on weekends. I revealed another secret. That Tom was unemployed. "What? Tom, you're not working?" "Well, that's..." He quit his job because he was angry with his boss. He even punched the walls and threw his bag on the sofa. It's been half a month since he quit, and he still hasn't found another job. Seems like he's been busy dating his mistress. As I said this nonchalantly, my mother-in-law suddenly approached Tom and gave him a strong kick. Ouch! Tom's reaction showed the kickboxing lessons my mother-in-law took were effective. He couldn't stand up for a while. This idiot son! My mother-in-law yelled. Mom! Tom, with tears in his eyes, looked at his mother. I knew my mother-in-law was serious and valued things, disliked wastefulness, and would be appalled by infidelity and unemployment. I had gambled that revealing everything to her would disillusion her about Tom, and it worked better than I expected. My mother-in-law began to scold Tom. Not working, pushing all the housework onto Nancy, and you're out on dates while taking out your anger on things, damaging the walls, floors, and furniture. She was trembling with anger. Mom, it's not like that. This is all Nancy's lies. Lies? Can you still say that after seeing this? It was footage from the pet camera. I had installed it to check on our dog, but never thought it would come in handy like this. The camera showed Tom punching walls and floors and throwing things. And here's proof of the affair, I said, showing them the note Michelle had slipped into the present. Tom had no words. Still think I'm lying? I'm sorry. I was wrong, Tom admitted. It turned out, the day he said a junior colleague was too drunk to go home, it was Michelle. And they ended up in a relationship after getting drunk together. The day he quit his job, he had been scolded for having an affair at work, but he got mad at his boss for interfering in his private life and quit in anger. Unbelievable stupidity. I couldn't believe this man was my husband. My mother-in-law, watching all this, was stunned. Then she apologized to me. I heard you lost your parents when you were young, so I was really worried about you. I wanted to be like a mother to you, so I nagged and lectured you. I'm so sorry. I understand how much you must have suffered from Tom's infidelity, having gone through a divorce myself because of infidelity. I'm truly sorry. It was the first time I had seen her speak so earnestly. I had felt she was picking on me, but she was just worried. Well, in a hard-to-understand way. Hey, Tom. Make sure to pay Nancy a lump sum for alimony. You got that? She glared at Tom fiercely. Seeing her scary face, Tom squeaked, yes, yes. Soon after, my mother-in-law introduced me to the lawyer she used during her divorce. Through that lawyer, Tom and I began divorce process. Tom was taken back to his parents' house by my mother-in-law, and now I live alone in our former home. A few days later, Tom called me. At first, I ignored him, but he was so persistent that I reluctantly answered. What? You're annoying. Nancy! Don't talk to me like that. I was wrong. Please, forgive me. What? Now you come crawling back? Your lawyer is demanding alimony from me. $30,000? I don't have any money. I quit my job. Tom whined to me. I sighed deeply and said, after having an affair, constantly verbally abusing me, and breaking so many things, you expect forgiveness? Are you out of your mind? You should be thankful it's only $30,000. No, it's impossible. I don't have that kind of money. You quit your job on your own and squandered money on your mistress. If you keep pestering me, I'll call the police. I warned, and Tom fell silent. Then, I abruptly ended the call. Just when I thought Tom had finally stopped contacting me, his mistress reached out. I had saved her number as Wretched Woman. Hello? This wretched woman. She's calling me that too, how ironic. What do you want? You're demanding alimony? I don't have that kind of money. I can't pay. She was furious. Truly a perfect match for Tom. She continued to yell at me, calling me ugly, fat, wretched, and threatening to expose everything to my company and storm my house if I didn't withdraw the alimony demand. She thought she could intimidate me into withdrawing the claim. I calmly informed her. I've recorded this entire conversation. This can be considered a threat to the police, you know? Was the initial amount not enough? Should I ask for more? What? What are you doing? You wretched woman. I'm recording this too. Are you okay with that? She had no comeback for my reasoning. After a few seconds, I heard her sobbing. What? She's crying now? I'm the one who should be emotionally unstable, having been cheated on and harassed by the mistress. Isn't it enough already? I just wanted to be happy with him. Really, you thought you could be happy marrying Tom? A jobless, married, verbally abusive man? What? Jobless? She seemed unaware that Tom had quit his job. Apparently, they worked at the same company, but she had quit soon after they started their affair, hoping to marry and become a housewife. So, I'm being sued for alimony for getting involved with a jobless married man? Precisely. No way, she wailed. I hung up on her and immediately played the recording for my lawyer. Ultimately, my lawyer silenced the mistress, and she ended up paying the alimony. Thus, my divorce from Tom was finalized, and I received alimony from both parties. As for the mistress, she confronted Tom about not telling her about his unemployment, leading to frequent fights and an eventual breakup. As for me, I felt liberated from my abusive husband and was excited to start a new life. I still keep in touch with my mother-in-law. Recently, I even started kickboxing with her. It's a great workout and feels good to sweat. Nancy, I have a lot of side dishes. Do you want some? You're too thin, eat more. Despite her harsh words, my mother-in-law is actually caring, often cooking for me and looking after my well-being. I'm happy that we now have a proper mother-daughter relationship. Going forward, I'm determined to live happily in my own way.